Baby photography. That's gotta be stressful. Like the only time the kid stops screaming is when mom shoves her tit in his mouth. Acres of stuffed animals, rattles, ting-tinglers, gardinkers, woo-wonkers. Something's gotta shut the little bastard up.
Anthony. Sorry. I tried using the water pick thing. They always say that doesn't work for shit. I had to go right back to floss. Anyway, in the useless information about Mark category. Okay, this has been Obnoxious Trivia. And no one learned anything, which is my goal. I want people to walk away instantly forgetting my Obnoxious Trivia. For all the intrigue the question mark sign caused me, turns out it was just pointing to an information center. No life secrets, just a pamphlet about Wyoming's irrigation history and directions to Bertha's Pancake House. But wow, those restrooms were shiny.
This is the Snaggletoon Rock and Roll Podcast.
Did we talk about the Low Heaven show?
No, we did not.
Yeah. You'll see pictures of us with Dan from Low Heaven. I'll put the picture up. We had a smashing time. Yes, I am wearing my Danzig Jesse shirt. Always a party.
Yeah, really great band. If they come anywhere near you, you should get out and see them. They put on a hell of a show. God, I thought he was going to jump off that stage. He was so...
We got like 4 or 5 shows coming up in September. We're just going to move into the Metro and the Autobar, I think. Just stay there. Live on draft beer and peanuts, something like that. So, anyway, did you know I saw the signs?
You ever see that sign on the back of a truck? Don't follow construction vehicle. Got me thinking, does that mean there are people just destinationless following random cars? Like, are there really folks that are just out there driving going, well, I don't know where I'm going, but that dump truck looks like it's going somewhere really important.
Yeah, like they see a cement mixer and they go, gee, that spinny thing must be headed somewhere magical. Maybe a nifty parade or a cute little village where it's always Christmas. I can taste the gingerbread. I'm going to follow him. Then later it's, shit, how did I end up in a ditch with liquid cement flowing into the passenger seat? I don't even see any reindeer around here. What a bummer.
I wonder what would happen if people randomly followed me. Am I going to pull into my driveway and 5 minutes later there's a stranger just setting up a hammock in my garden like, you seem so nice with your judicious use of turn signals and your thank you wave on the highway. I mean, you don't mind if I take the guest bedroom, do you?
I guess if I were going to blindly follow a vehicle, I'll tell you, it would not be one dropping gravel and billowing black smoke with squeaking air brakes, that's for sure. Who would I follow? I guess like a taco truck maybe, because then if I get lost, at least I'm lost with the burrito.
Nothing, and I mean nothing, sounds as final as a dead end sign. Like, why is it so cryptic? I'm just trying to visit my friend Chad, not inspire a Stephen King novella. Dead End gives off vibes from all 17 Final Destination movies. Turn here if you want a surfboard through the windshield and a slow pan to your headless body as the credits roll.
No, they're still making those.
Oh,
there's something
that
it came up on my home feed that there's a new Final Destination. Like, make it stop. I feel like if I drive past a dead end sign, I'm supposed to start narrating in past tense. She had no idea this would be the last left turn she'd ever make. Cue dramatic, eerie music. Then you've got its friendlier, passive-aggressive cousin, no outlet. Like, okay, maybe I won't die, but I might be stuck in a loop like Groundhog Day. No outlet. Does that mean I can't leave or I just can't charge my phone? I start sweating the second I see it. What do you mean there's no outlet? Like emotional? Can't I scream into a pillow for relief? Of course, you put those two phrases together, dead end, no outlet. That's like the title for a suicide note.
Ever seen the blue signs that are just a question mark with an arrow? Like, am I supposed to follow it? Is this like a choose your own adventure book? If you follow the question mark, turn to page 76 and decide if you go to the food truck or talk to the homeless woman. One takes you to a surprise birthday party and the other, you wake up in someone else's pants chained to a radiator.
For all the intrigue the question mark sign caused me, turns out it was just pointing to an information center. No life secrets, just a pamphlet about Wyoming's irrigation history and directions to Bertha's Pancake House. But wow, those restrooms were shiny. How about blind person area? Cool. Do they just like roam free like majestic deer? Should I be tossing bag snacks like I'm feeding ducks at a sanctuary? Or I could prepare to help at crosswalks? To your left, we've got a median. Coming up next, curb ramp. Let's go. Or do I just slow down and listen for canes tapping? How does one honk in Braille? Is there a deaf person area? Or I have to tackle them because they're about to walk in front of a moving fire truck? What is sign language for stop jaywalking?
Do not pass when opposing traffic present. Is this just for the people who have 0 to 1% common sense, or they didn't pay attention in driving school because they were watching Maury Povich reruns? It's like no diving in jacuzzi. Someone had to test that rule for them to put up an actual sign. I thought if I believed hard enough, the oncoming semi would become imaginary. Please don't try to recreate the Fast and the Furious with a 2001 Tercel that burns oil and stalls frequently, because apparently, without the sign, the dude in the lifted pickup thinks double yellows are just suggestions. All right, let's talk about this week's interview. He's a man who needs no introduction, but I think Mark is going to give him one anyway.
Yes, our feature interview this week is Dan Lorenzo, guitarist and songwriter for the New Jersey metal bands Hades and more recently, Patriarchs in Black. We have a great talk with Dan about the formation of Patriarchs, his songwriting consistency, and how he came to invite so many cool guest vocalists for the new album, Home. We get into things like his favorite female vocalists, his baseball career, and even how to make his signature red sauce, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's kick it off with the Patriarchs in Black song. This is The Call. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletoon and for $6.66 a month, you get an Oscar Mayer weenie whistle-mobile that badly needs an oil change full of marking stains.
That's right. As Patreons, you get exclusive content that is only available to our Patreons, as they help us out as far as going to all these shows and new equipment. And,
Moving into the auto bar.
yeah,
We need help
moving
with
into
that.
the auto bar.
Yeah.
And also, of course, we always get back to the underground music scene that I think we're becoming a part of. I love it.
Don't send us your band's demo. We don't want it.
Oh, and jump over to our Instagram. Make sure to give us a follow. If you haven't checked out Low Heaven, you can check them out there. I did several live streams.
Also, if any of you can figure out why the helicopters Collecturbation video is over 50,000 views, please let us know. We'll make a comment because I can't figure it out to save my life. The thing never stops. It just blows up and blows up. They even took away the tits and it still blows up. I don't know.
YouTube took away our naked lady thumbnail. And after a year,
And it's still
it still won't
rocking and through. So anyway, you'll never figure out the algorithm. And you'll also never figure out this
Oh, no.
because it's time. Hit it.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
Okay, I got to really go and dash these together quickly.
Do you have notes?
I've come to not at all. Are you kidding for this? I've come to learn that your obnoxious trivias that we do in Decay are like learning fodder. Mine are how stupid. What stupidness can I find? So this is a great example of Mark's stupid obnoxious trivia questions. Okay, number one, which one of these country singers did not yodel? A. Gene Autry, B. Roy Rogers, C. Mickey Newberry, or D. Leanne Rhymes?
I'm pretty sure.
Yodelay.
I don't know who Mickey Newberry is. I'll go Gene Autry.
He was one of the biggest yodelers.
I so don't know country music.
Yeah, they actually Leanne Rhymes even has a song with yodeler.
But I remembered that. That's why.
Mickey Newberry was not a yodeler.
And also someone I didn't know at all.
Yep. Well,
Probably because he didn't yodel.
Gene, Roy, and Leanne were yodeling, hee-hooing out the yin yang.
Oh,
So
boy.
and I like Dwight Yoakam because he writes a lot of songs about hobos on trains, which is like not a thing anymore. I don't think. Okay, number two. Which of these animals did not appear on the Tonight
Oh,
Show?
boy.
A painting baby elephant. B, a baboon that punched him. C, a cockatoo that crapped on his shoulder. Or D, a pygmy marmoset that peed on his head.
And by him, I'm guessing we mean
Gianni.
Johnny.
Not Jay. I don't think Jay had animals.
I'm pretty sure I remember the baby elephant, and I'm pretty sure I remember clips of a baboon doing something nasty. I'll say a pygmy marmoset because that's really.
That's the most popular animal that was ever on his show. It peed right on his head. I tricked you with a red herring. The cockatoo never happened. So I know you're a bird woman. I'm really rocking through these. You're 0 for 2. Okay.
Man.
The key is to put absolutely no effort into it. That's the thing. Okay. 3. In August 2017 in Neustadt, Germany, what was stolen from a truck in a well-planned heist? A collection of 5 rare Monets on their way to a gallery. B, an original Space Invaders arcade game being transported to a museum. C, 20 tons of Nutella and Kinder chocolate. Or D, $100,000 worth of black truffles.
Man, I don't know how you'd have that $100,000 worth of truffles. Around here, we just have apparently frozen hot dogs spilling out onto our highways. That was in the news.
Hot dogs were not the freaking best that day.
Oh, thousands. I want to say I probably would have ran across A when we did our little rant on art heists, and I don't remember that one. So, and I think 20 tons of Nutella and Kinder chocolate. Why anybody would want that unless they're trying to kill themselves with a diabetic coma. I'll go with B, an original Space Invaders arcade game being transported to a museum.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Uh-huh.
It was, in fact, 20 tons of Nutella and Kinder chocolate. They never found it.
I guess not. They just smeared their bodies in it.
Okay. 0 for 3. Here we go. Number 4. Which of these facts is true about flossing, according to manisdental.com?
I know I'm not good at it. Is that one of the answers?
A, the American Dental Association recommends flossing 3 times a day. B, people with braces do not need to floss. C, waxed floss is recommended for people over 60. Or D, if you don't floss, 30% of your teeth remain unclean.
I didn't even know they made it. Unwaxed floss. I never really paid attention. Remember that one hotel was nothing but floss and a vending machine, which I thought was weird.
They didn't have water, but they had floss.
And no toothbrushes, but floss. Toothpaste. Apparently they're big flossers, Frederick.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let me think here. I'll go with A. The American Dental Association recommends flossing 3 times a day because that seems like you should have to carry it, in a tackle box.
Sorry, you're 0 for 4.
Oh my God.
It's actually D. If you don't floss, 30% of your teeth remain unclean.
I guess that is that.
Yeah.
30%.
And people with braces,
Seem too high.
people with braces need to floss even more, even though it's challenging.
I did know that one because I had braces.
Yeah,
And
the
my
whole water,
therapies.
I tried using the water pick thing. They always tell you that doesn't work for shit. I had to go right back to floss. Anyway, in the useless information about Mark category. Okay, this has been Obnoxious Trivia. And no one learned anything, which is my goal. I want people to walk away instantly forgetting my Obnoxious Trivia.
People Google it in like 3 days.
I always feel my heart goes a pitter patter when Stace goes 0 for 4 on my Obnoxious Trivia that took 10 minutes. And now it's time for our Snaggletoon, and we're going to call this, Why Don't You Take a Picture to Last Longer? Camera phones have become such a part of everyday life. Everyone's an amateur photographer of sorts, and whether you're catching that handwritten sign at the grocery store that reads, herpes and spices, tee-hee-hee, or taking your 112th selfie with your calico, but real photography is still a hobby and a profession, and it exists all around us.
Being a wedding photographer has to require a certain set of skills, not just a point and click, but you're dealing with one bridezilla after another on their ultimate, I'm a princess today, goddammit, environment. Get tight shots of drunken family members that haven't spoken in years. And now it's like, lean in, everyone make a funny face, everybody jump.
Trying to get those special sneak peek videos yielded Fat Aunt Joan savagely fixing a wedgie. Great shot of 96-year-old Grandpa Ted doing the YMCA dance. Sadly, the photos of the ENTs trying to revive him later were not as charming. The picture of the fire truck parked next to the limousine was a nice touch.
The fistfight between drunk in-laws, which resulted in a heartwarming shot of one woman dunking another's face in the chocolate fountain. By the way, have you ever seen the size of some of these mega cameras these wedding photographers set up? We went to an outside wedding and I was convinced it was for live action shots of cheetahs taking down gazelles somewhere in the Amazon.
How about the folks that take the photos for Zillow? What class do you have to take to get the perfect shot of a broom closet and make it look big enough to fit a queen-size bed in there? Or 751 pictures of the kitchen and living room, and you're scrolling for hours trying to get that one thing resolved. It does have a heating unit, doesn't it?
Baby photography. That's gotta be stressful. Like the only time the kid stops screaming is when mom shoves her kid in his mouth. Acres of stuffed animals, rattles, ting-tinglers, gardinkers, woo-wunkers. Something's gotta shut the little bastard up.
Anthony. Sorry.
Plus, mom won't pay for the session unless he has that Paddington Bear hat on his head. Do we have any command strips?
How about the people that take the pictures of food? Places like McDonald's and Burger King, that food doesn't ever look like the picture. The bun is perky, the meat looks fresh and stacked, toppings farm fresh, sauce drizzled, cheese crumbling, and all of it on a Martha Stewart-style mahogany cutting board next to a cloth napkin that you'll never find in this establishment.
When you get yours out of the bag and unwrap it, it looks like they fished it out of a dumpster and ran it over with a Jeep on the way to the restaurant. I always pictured the buns are plastic. There's cardboard splints between the patties. The cheese is actually made with nail polish and packing peanuts. We can't use actual food to make the food look edible, you dolt. Now go get me my blowtorch so we can have a sizzling look on the next frame.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, or we'll share that picture of your sister-in-law groping the DJ at the wedding. Okay, I can't take anymore. Let's get a little Patriarchs in Black going with Celestial Yard.
No need for fancy tales, those complex fabrications. Everything that you dreamt would be made real and old. You'd see those brothers right before your eyes.
Okay, let's talk about Coffee AM, and we have the very thing here.
All right, Coffee AM. You can find them right online. It's coffeeam.com. They are a great company from right here in the USA, out of Georgia. And you too can get your specialty coffees FedEx to your door.
They have such a wide selection. It brings a tear to the eye.
They do. They have absolutely pages of flavors if you're into flavored coffee, if you're into specialty coffee, whether it be micro lots, fair trades, hard to find single blends, they have it.
Blood Diamond coffee. They have it all.
Well, more like Kona.
Ah.
They also do have teas for you teetotalers, as well as, in fact, one time I bought a whole loose bag of white tea because it's supposed to be so good for you. And they actually include the little diffuser, everything. They think of everything.
Racist tea. They got it all.
No, a racist tea. This is our s'mores coffee, which I cannot wait to get into.
Yeah, I got into the summer blend. That's what we're drinking now.
Yeah, summer blend. They run specials on occasion. It was summer coffees. Also, this is a raspberry cream coffee. They come in these great bags. This is the whole pound size. If you prefer to get everything in half pounds, you can do that as well. Most selections you can pick regular or decaf if you're a goofball.
I'm ready for the burlap sack size.
You can get it drip grind, French press, or whole beans if you prefer to grind it yourself. But these great little bags keep everything fresh. You know that this was roasted for you because they'll put your name on the back.
I can French press 100 pounds. Not many people know that.
So if you want to use our link, it will save you off your order. And by the way, they are a points company. So every time you shop, you can use those points off a future order.
Okay. It's time for Collecturbation. A little bit of a zigzag this time. We're going to go with Richard and Linda Thompson's Shoot Out the Lights from 1982.
Hunky Dory, Foxtrot, Born to Run. What do these classic albums have in common? They evoke themes, deeply personal and sometimes hard to explain. Bowie's Hunky Dory, with its vast array of vocal chameleonism, acoustic strumming, and bonkers piano bits. It always makes me think of a young woman trying on dresses at a shop. Note the Born to Run evokes images of young men cruising around in souped-up muscle cars, probably next to the local McDonald's.
The cellos, flutes, and 12 strings of Genesis Foxtrot make me think of an artisan making beautiful wood carvings at a snail's pace in a tiny workshop that smells of pipe tobacco and lacquer. Shoot Out the Lights, the final album from the folk duo Richard and Linda Thompson, has a closing for business, everything must go vibe about it. There's an air of finality, of imminent change, and it goes beyond the well-documented divorce the couple had to endure for the recording and subsequent US tour, which had to be gut-wrenching. Don't miss the cover. Furniture gone, torn wallpaper, Linda absent from the shot. The bright lights are ancient history, everything now shattered and lost.
I love the look on his face, though. He looks a little crazy.
She even took my favorite footstool.
The two sides of the coin are captured between Walking on a Wire and Man in Need, the former ensnared by Linda's vocal, fraught with weariness and tangible sadness. Lines like, "Where's the justice and where's the sense when all the pain is on my side of the fence?" Just hanging in the air like smoke as Thompson's guitar emits searing, out-of-phase clucks and moans. Let's play a clip. This is Walking on a Wire.
Where's the justice? And where's the sense? When all the pain is on my side of the fence. I'm walking on a wire. I'm walking on a wire. And I'm
Man in Need is one of the most spot-on reflections on male anguish ever committed to tape. Rags packed, family abandoned, off on an endless trek, not even sure of the destination. Well, I've sailed every ship in the sea, but I traveled this world in misery. You know it's so hard, who's going to cure the heart of a man in need? The heavy-hearted verse is delivered over an odd, sprightly tempo, Linda's vocal adding a haunting edge to the chorus, and the harmonized leads weaving a sitarish, countrified melody that only Thompson could concoct. The most upbeat song of family abandonment ever recorded? At any rate, bolt the doors and turn off the sign. This duo is closed for future business.
The Backstreet Slide kicks off like a simple shuffle that Thompson paints with signature dark narrative. Gatemouth woman leaning on the fence. She's got no teeth. She's got no sense. You don't need much intelligence doing the slide. The track shifts unexpectedly around midpoint to a Kashmir-adjacent Eastern melody that Thompson frosts with a naughty solo. It is an album that has become synonymous with divorce, but I think that is an oversimplification. Every critic composed of molecules has to beat us over the head with it. Of course, the title track is a doomy, despondent beast, the simple lyrics telling of a shadowy abstract he that moves through the city at night, perhaps a suggestion of a frustrated introversion, current events withstanding. It sets up a marvelous canvas for one of his most iconic guitar solos, strings clucking and screeching masterfully over the gloom. Let's play a clip. This is the Backstreet Slide.
She got no teeth, she got no sense. Don't need much intelligence doing the slide. The backstreet slide, the backstreet slide. They're gonna get you, dead or alive. Stab you in the back with a kitchen knife. Doing the backstreet slide.
Now, I'm hesitant to say that this album is any darker than the rest of the couple's discography. Old Man Inside a Young Man, Smithy's Glass Eye, The Poor Boy is Taken Away. I mean, these two were never writing Spice Girls material. Of course, it ends with an absolute gem, Wall of Death, a simple, almost naive observation of amusement park rides with the fantastic vocal hooks delivered by Linda, who I just read was so pregnant during the recordings that they limited her singing. I didn't know that. And lines like, "The switchback will make you crazy, beware of the bearded lady," proving that despite the dourness of their situation, the talent still shines through brilliantly. Loved by critics, relatively unknown to mainstream rock fans, Shoot Out the Lights is the couple's final masterpiece. It's an album that continues to weave its dark charms and artisan finesse 40 plus years after the fact. Let's play a little bit of Watch in the Dark.
in the dark, you can reach him. He hides like a child. He hides like a child. Keeps his finger on the trigger. You know we can't stand the day. Shoot out the lights.
Eyes like a child. Why don't we introduce the feature interview?
This is our wonderful chat with Dan Lorenzo. What a great guy. Love Patriarchs in Black. If you are unfamiliar, my gosh, get over there right away.
The man bleeds music.
Yeah, they do collaborations with so many great artists, and well, you'll hear during the interview how they craft these songs together, and many collaborations.
Including Carla Gell. I'm not going to say it.
So I guess let's start at the beginning. How did this project kind of come together? You on guitar and writing duties, Johnny on drums, and then this revolving door of guest vocalist and musician. Was it always the plan, or it kind of evolved into this musical extended family?
I would say, good question, by the way. It evolved into it. So I was doing a band called Vessel of Light, and we did 4 records in 3 years. And I was about as happy as I've ever been musically. And then the singer from Vessel of Light moved from Cleveland. I live in New Jersey, and our bass player lived in New York City, Jimmy Shulman from Hades, and Ron Lipnicki from Hades and Overkill. And the singer moved from Cleveland to Austin, Texas. And I was flying him in, paying for his hotels. Like, I was so in love with Vessel of Light. And then after COVID hit, he moved to Austin. So I did 2 records with the Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys, and we were
Watchtower.
we were
Yeah.
called Cash is King. So I just kept writing and writing, and Ron's like, Dan, I can't keep up with all this writing, So I'm like, let me get a hold of Johnny Kelly, because we'd been, even MySpace friends or email friends somehow. And I said, hey man, would you want to, do a record with me, because I just keep writing. And he's like, I have no time for touring, I have no time for shows, I live in Texas, but yeah, let's do a record together, send me some music. So I sent him a few songs, and he quickly back sent the drums. And then this guy who I can't find, he was a journalist, and I haven't talked to him since he gave me Carla Gell's phone number or email. So the first thing we did, we sent a song, I'll never forget, it was called Lamb, this tentative title, no lyrics. And it became the first single, Demon of Regret. We sent it to Carl, and a month goes by, and Carl didn't send anything back. And I'm like really impatient. So I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool to maybe have a couple different singers on this album, And the very next day, Johnny Kelly said to me, hey man, I've been thinking about this. This is just for fun. Why don't we have different singers and different bass players on every song? And it was like, literally like that. So now, as much as I love the Vessel of Light, I love my old band Hades and Nonfiction. It's so fun to have different singers on every song. I don't think I could ever go back to a full band project. And I think Johnny and I thought it would be one album, but I just kept writing and writing and writing. And now we're about ready to release our 4th original album.
That's great. Yeah.
So would you consider Patriarchs in Black as a super group? Because it kind of sort of is.
There's, if anybody's super, it's everybody except for me. Like, the singers and the bass players, like JD from Black Label Society, and Johnny Kelly from Typo, and Carla Gell from Corrosion of Conformity Blind. It sounds really big in DMC, but I'm the guy who never, I always put out music and I get great reviews, but I never really went anywhere in my life musically. I've toured America and Europe a few times, but never anything really big, like Hades was my biggest band, and we were not even that big. Like, there's 10 bands who use our name. We were so unbig, but, I consider myself a good riff writer and a good songwriter. I'm a mediocre guitar player who, like, I do what I got to do in the studio. Like, I don't make mistakes and stuff, but, the other guys in the band are super, definitely not me.
Yeah. The supergroup thing for me was kind of ruined at a young age when I heard The Firm. Remember the hype of The Firm, and we thought, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Paul Rodgers and Jimmy Page. And then it was like,
I was going to say, was that
it
Jimmy
was like,
Page?
okay. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing bombastic at all. And
Right.
it just, it just broke my heart, you know.
Really? Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
was not heartbroken. I think my wife liked them. I really didn't listen to them too much, but I know what you mean. Just like the Coverdale Page thing, maybe. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
you can throw around a bunch of big names, but if there's no chemistry, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean it works sometimes. Like look at like Black Country Communion. That's a
Yeah.
great super group, you know. So who'd have thought that Hughes would still be alive and kicking at this
Mm.
age?
Amazing voice. What a oh God, I would love to have him. Somebody asked me today,
Exactly.
I did an
Yeah.
interview with KNAC and they asked if there's somebody else I like to work with. I got to remember that name, you know? The
Oh
voice
yeah,
of rock, the
absolutely.
voice of rock. Yeah, that would be
Oh
insane.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
I want to know how the voice connects with that hair. I
Yeah.
think if he cut his hair, it would be like Samson. It'd be like, ah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
always wonder about the sessions for Burn when it was Coverdale and Hughes, and it
Yeah.
was like, I'm the singer. No, fuck you, I'm the singer. You know, like
Yeah.
I can only imagine what that was like, you know. Well, let's take each line, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Oh, we have a song on the first album called This Damn War, where I
uh-huh.
actually had John Costco, who was in a band called Dropbox, and Carl Gale going back and forth. And
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
yeah. Did you
That's
guys
cool.
know about us before this album, or is this you guys just learning about
Oh
me?
yeah, we did. And actually we're kind of regulars with talking to Carl. We just saw him at Maryland Doom Fest,
Oh,
and we
okay.
had him on the show for the Legions of Doom project
Right.
with Ron from Trouble and stuff. So yeah,
Awesome.
we're familiar with with the world, this world, yes.
I
Okay.
always consider myself a hugger. So I saw him and I ran up and I dive hugged him. Well, he out hugged me 9 times over. I'm like, is he letting me go? I'm stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and Carl,
It's great.
when we interviewed him, he told me, I didn't know this, that there is an entire version of Deliverance that was recorded with him singing, and it
Oh,
just got put got shelved.
well, he has
And
never let me hear this. I would like to
I,
hear
w-
it.
I said box set, come on, box set,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear
Yeah,
that.
totally.
So I do love the name Patriarchs in Black. It sounds kind of a little authoritative, a little ritualistic, and I kind of see it as you and Johnny being like the leads of this doom tribe, leading the ceremony.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
kind of what it is, or is it something a little deeper?
That's a good analogy. I mean, no, it's nothing deep at all. Like, picking a band name has become the hardest thing in the world. Like, you think if it's a one-word name, forget it. You'll type
Yeah.
it in. There's another band somewhere that's playing in their garage, but they still use the name. And I just had to combine something. I always loved bands that had the word black in it. Always just it's my color, even though I'm wearing a white shirt right now, which is incredibly rare. So yeah, I just love the meaning in it. I think I was reading one of my wife's elephant books and it said matriarch, and I'm like, let's switch that to patriarch, and so yeah, it doesn't have any deep meaning. It just kind of sounds cool, and nobody else had used it before, so we got there first.
Yeah,
It captures it well.
totally.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So for the title home, it seems to carry a lot of emotional weight. For some people, home is a place of comfort. For some, it's someplace they're running away from. I know that you touched a little bit on how it's like when you're out on the road and you come home and it's that feeling.
Yeah.
So how does that name kind of tie into that, or Johnny losing his mom? I guess it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a word you come in contact with almost every day. Like, last night I was driving home from the city, and how do you get home? You hit the home button on the car, and it bars driving home or navigation home or whatever. And also, like you said, Johnny lost his mom. I lost my cousin who was a couple years younger than me, and he was in the hospital for months. And that's what the song Frisian is sort of about, which is Dewey Bragg singing that. Stay for a while or stay till the end. And just the word home just kept coming up a lot. And then I have my old nonfiction drummer. He loves to be home all the time. I love to travel, but I also love coming home. My wife's always bummed a little bit on the end of vacation, and I'm always like, yeah, we're going home. So it's like, it's the place you feel most comfortable. Like, there's obviously a comfort level being home that you're probably not going to have anywhere else. So I thought it's just a word that was prevalent in my life the last year or so.
When you're away traveling, what do you miss the most about home?
I guess just my routine, even though with having a different singer in every song, I always tell people my biggest fear in life is having a life like Groundhog Day. Like, I like to eat different food. That's why I love, whether it's American food's great. I love Italian food, but I love Mexican food. I love Venezuelan food. I love Afghani food. I love, I don't want to have Afghani food every day, but I like to have it a
Right.
couple times a year. I love diversity so much. But now I'm forgetting the original question. Oh, what do I miss?
What do you miss the most? Yeah.
I guess my routine, even though I like to have my routine not be very routine,
Yeah.
because that would make me crazy, but it's still a routine. You wake up, you kiss your wife hello, you go to breakfast or you cook breakfast home. Just being home is great. But I mean, I do like to sleep in a hotel room at least once a month. For some reason, to me, hotels are always exciting. But I just love the combination, I guess.
Cool. Mm.
So, for your house to be a home, what would you say it has to include? Whether it be your guitars, pets, family,
Yeah,
favorite easy
I
chair.
I guess my wife, I mean, sometimes we watch, travel shows and like we love Key West and we're going to Utah in September. And then we're going to Jackson Hole. And I always just look like, I wonder if we could live there, but it's probably a combination of, wherever my wife is, I feel like comfortable and I'm home. But then also like I got my musician friends, I got my basketball friends. Now, my musician friends with Patriarchs and Black are all over America. And Jimmy Shulman from Hades is my best friend. I saw him last night for half an hour for the first time in months. But I still, like, a little part of me wouldn't want to move, say, as much as I love the state of Utah. I'd be so far from all of my family, all of my basketball friends, my immediate closest friends who I hardly ever see anymore now that I'm an adult, But
Yeah.
just knowing, you could drive to their house if need be. So that's what I would miss. Good questions, by the way, guys. Very good questions.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, every time we stay somewhere, there's always some bit of weirdness about the place we stay. I mean, we
Really?
just went to Frederick and got a bed and breakfast, right?
Right.
And we were trying to sleep in because the shows were running late. And we were in the basement of this house. And this crazy bird kept flying at the window,
Really?
like repeatedly. We were trying to go out the door and she was trying to fly at the door. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah, there's
God.
always something weird.
I
Yeah.
figured that's still in the same state as you are. And it's always something weird.
Something weird, yeah.
See,
I
and
guess
we usually have really good experiences traveling. I mean, there's been times when I've been on tour where I remember Hades' first tour when we were touring back when there was West Germany and East Germany. And we were in whatever we were in West Germany. We probably did 6 shows in a row in West Germany at the time, of course, Germany now. And I just felt like me and the guitar player, Ed Fredman, we always got a room next to a church bell that would start at 6 or 7 a.m. But other than that, I've had pretty damn good luck traveling. Nothing like really horrible. Like, I mean, although a bird pecking at your door is not the worst thing in the world, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. There was an interview with Rod Smallwood in the last Classic Rock, and he was talking about when they first toured, when the wall came down, and they toured in some hall that used to be run by the Nazis,
Right.
and there were all these places backstage where they could look out and see the Nazis to watch you and make sure that your ass was doing what you were supposed to do, or they'd come grab you.
my
Of
God.
course, that's not here anymore, but yeah, that's just one of his many maiden memories,
Yeah, terrible. Still can't
It's hard to
believe
believe that even existed,
I know. Yeah, sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So I do love your cover art, which makes home seem a much scarier place with this crazy knocker. How did you guys arrive at that artwork? It gives a whole different meaning to, do I want to go home?
Yeah, well, there was a guy a guy in Germany who I've been using. His email is Scatterling. I believe his name is Johann. I hope that's the correct name. And he's done a couple album covers for us. And as soon as I gave him a title and I told him what I wanted, and I forget what I even wanted now. And he's like, "Hey man, I just had this idea." And I'm like, "Oh, that's it. That was better than my idea." Because yeah, you feel like it's a house and it's maybe a medieval house and not a house of an accountant or a lawyer or a scumbag politician. Nobody corny would live there in this house,
Mm-hmm.
Nobody going to Coldplay concerts.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned all the writing that you're doing. And you've put out an album every year since 2022. So how do you keep the creative fire lit? I mean, and what are your muses? Is it like long walks or movies or books, or like how do you stay so creative and prolific?
So I've actually done 8 albums in 10 years, if you include Vessel
Wow.
and Cash is King. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So So I'm going to go backwards. That the record label in my fan base has told me they don't need an album every year from me. So I handed this album in early. I stopped playing guitar, so I would stop writing songs, right? Because it's really getting frustrating when the record label even tells you, like, look, we can't even fit all the songs you recorded on the record. And I believe in all these songs. It killed me that we had to take 2
Yeah.
songs off the record, 3 songs. But so going backwards, I put out a record in 2007 with Bobby Blitz called The Cursed Room Full of Sinners, and it was a great record. You can't even find it anymore, but and nobody cared. And that hurt me so much that I said, you know what, why am I wasting my time playing music for? Why am I doing this? And I just played guitar for 10 years. I was as happy as I'd ever been. I mean, life was great. And then I discovered a band called Ancient Wisdom. And they had 2 songs that I listened to repeatedly. One song called The Opposition that I heard it, I listened to it, and I watched it like 30, 40, 50 times in a week or so. I got a hold of the singer, and we just had a little fanboy relationship via email, I think it was, then eventually on the phone. And he knew who I was, but he wasn't like a big Hades fan or whatever, I don't think. But then he sends me an email. So what's going on with our side project? I'm like, what side project? And I'm like, oh, cool. This guy wants to write with me. And he's a lot younger than me. I'm 62 and he's like, I think he's not even 50 yet. But I drove out to Cleveland. We had one rehearsal. I came home. I drove out to Cleveland again, and we did a record, a little EP. And I was so fucking happy. My wife and I were on the way to Hawaii. We had a 12-hour layover. We got a record deal. And ever since I met Nathan Opposition, ever since I started writing with Vessel of Light, I got so excited that I just kept writing and writing. And then I did 2 records I love with Jason McMaster. And then, like I said, I met Johnny Kelly. So if Johnny Kelly sat on these songs for 6 months before he'd send me anything back, I wouldn't be writing as much as I'm writing because wouldn't be that exciting to me. So the fact that I'm working with all these different singers, and I don't know if any of my singers could have written 10 songs a year with me, but they can all write 1 or 2 or 3. So it just makes it so exciting. So I think like the vibes I'm getting from everybody in the band and how good the product is, how good the songs are, it just inspired me to keep going,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised to see you originally had 17 tracks. So how did you end up picking what ended up on the cutting room floor?
Well, one song I actually wrote in 1989. It's just a very old song. Jason McMaster sang it, and we didn't think it fit on the record. And then there was another song. It's like a traditional 12-bar blues, but sort of doomy. And that guy, Frankie Diaz, sang it. The guy who sang the song I wrote called, I forget, one of the songs on the record. But we're like, all right, we don't need another blues song on the record. So we're holding it off. We'll probably release it, early next year. So it was hard. And then it's like, well, I don't want to cut any other songs. And it's like, all right, so we're going to put everything out on CD, everything out digitally, but we're going to have to cut some songs for the vinyl. So, that happened. And unfortunately, a couple great songs got cut. But yeah, so it's a very hard decision as to which ones you want to let go.
I believe it.
So, and you were a part in writing, and co-writing every song on the track. Did you have a track that fell into place very quickly, or one that was kind of a problem child for you to get nailed down?
So there was a song that became Storm King that I gave to Carl like a year ago, and Carl wrote and sang. He wrote the lyrics and he sang to the call, and that's probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite on the album. But like he basically told me like right before the record had to be handed in that Storm King, like that he didn't do anything to it. I'm like, oh my God, that sucks. I love this song. So there was this guy named Joe Ferrara, who I was told about by the band, the Amish Outlaws, who were a cover band, and they're fans of mine, some of them. And they told me about their old singer, Joe Ferrara. They're like, he's really talented. I sent it to Joe on a Sunday. He sent back, finished singing on Monday, and he fucking crushes, man.
Wow.
Amish Outlaws, yeah, they're big around here. And
Yeah, I know.
I used to work for a restaurant. They're family owned, and kind of the mom runs the ship, and her son is kind of a dick. Not kind of a dick, he is a dick.
Okay.
And they were playing outside. They had some big festival
Right.
in our parking lot, and he got really drunk and punched one of the guys out. I'm like,
Nice.
Oh my God. Well, they won't be back. That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, if you ever run into the bass player, tell him you interviewed me. Ezekiel, the bass player.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love them too. Um, so you have such heavy hitters on this. We talked about Carl, Kyle Thomas, Mark Sunshine, DMC, newer faces like Iron Lou. So did you write the tracks with certain vocalists in mind from the beginning, or did you just figure that out later?
Yes, I don't ever write, like I don't think when I write. I'm not capable of thinking when I write. Like if somebody said, "Hey, can you write a fast song or write a do me?" So like it's just you just write. Like you don't think. It's just it's almost like a supernatural force. Like there's no ability to think too much. It just stuff comes out. But then after I finish writing the riffs, I sort of have an idea as to who might be good to sing a song, but it's nothing set in stone. And like I said, I gave the song Storm King to Carl, and it ended up being Joe Ferrara. So it's sort of it doesn't matter in a certain sense. My wife's favorite singer is Mark Sunshine out of all the people I've ever worked with. So that's why he gets a lot of songs on the record.
Okay.
We all love Kyle Thomas, you know. So but no, so to answer your question in a word, no.
Yeah.
Did you ever have someone in mind for a song that, for whatever reason, couldn't do it?
Bobby Blitz, I wrote the song. The first song on the album was actually written with him in mind. But he told me he didn't want to be one of many. He wants to, like, we did the Curse album together. He doesn't like, you know, the idea different singers on every song. So that would be that's the song, Hymns for the Heretic. I sort of wrote it with him in mind.
Gotcha.
That's interesting. I wonder what that one would have sounded like.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, I know you said you don't like to repeat yourself on this album, and you wanted to try new things. How do you decide, like, if a track needs violin or flute or just an acoustic guitar? Like, what is it? Just a lot of tinkering around, or
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
your process?
I mean, I hear this stuff in my head. I mean, I hear, oh, I see one of your kitties, so cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I love cats.
this is
Um,
Lucius.
Oh, it looks beautiful. You know, I just hear stuff in my head, and it's sometimes I hear something in my head, and I go up to my loft and I figure it out on the guitar, and I'm like, that doesn't sound so good. I wonder why I wasted my time thinking that and going upstairs and playing it. And then like I'll hear it in my head again, and I'm like, come on, man, what is going on? And I'm like, oh, maybe it's another instrument, maybe it's a viola, maybe it's a flute, you know. And that's what happened with the song Frisian and the use of violin, and then whatever songs we have violin, and it's just like I hear it in my head, I play it on the guitar, it doesn't sound right, and then I've got to figure out what instrument it is. Like I don't hear violin per se, but on the song where you think you're going, I wrote the music and I heard an opera singer, and I told my wife, I told Johnny Kennedy, like, yeah, this might be stretching it a little too much, you know, but I'm like, what is it like? I'll just try it. We'll see what happens. What's the worst thing? If, you know, even if the whole world hated it, there's no reason I can't try it, you know?
That's cool.
Well, there's death metal that has saxophone solos.
Yeah,
You never know what's going to happen
exactly.
these days.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know with Frisian, I loved the addition of the viola and violin over drums, and kind of those vocals give it such a ghostly, folky feel. Was it difficult finding string players to come in and help you make those parts happen? Or were they
No,
just down the drain?
we have two people. We have a girl named Emma Smoller out in Chicago. She writes her own parts to whatever I sent her. And then we have this guy, Jonathan Ang, who up here, who's younger and not as seasoned as Emma. So I write the parts and I give them to him. I score them, not that I score them, but I just play them out for him. I tell him, you know, I record what I want on the guitar, and then he transposes it to the viola.
Yeah, it was really effective at building
Thank
such a
you.
neat atmosphere there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In Burn Through Time, you kind of mentioned in the lyrics like a rip in the matrix. What real world matrices do you think are reality these days? Is it algorithms, religion, social media?
You know,
Superhero movies.
what's that? What was the last thing you said?
Superhero movies. They're
Yeah.
like religions to some people. Yeah.
I don't know if I believe, I don't think we're living in a simulation. I don't buy any of that. I think it's super fascinating. It's a cool concept. I've seen a couple things where it's like, oh, that's pretty damn interesting, but I don't know. I'm not a big believer in that, honestly, in any of that stuff.
I think if anyway, it's the matrix we built for ourselves with social media, with filters, and nobody knows what's real and what's AI anymore, and
Right.
Yeah.
that's our matrix.
Right.
We were really entertained by the lyrics of Enough of You because we've often talked about there was an era in the 70s where bands like AC/DC and Cactus would talk about and Free that she was a whiskey stealing woman.
Mm,
And then it kind of it went away. I guess it got to the point where that wasn't bad anymore. But
yeah.
you mentioned in this song, so what prompted that? I mean, that's a throwback if there ever was one, you know.
So it's really weird that I wrote two songs with the word whiskey in it. On the previous album, there's a song called Whiskey on My Mind. It's a blues song I wrote, and this guy,
Right.
Frankie Diaz, sang it. And when I write lyrics, sometimes I don't know what they mean, so I'll write a couple, I'll be in my car listening to the riffs and the music, and then I'll start singing to it. And the lyrics could be gibberish, or there could be a line that it actually works, but now I have to figure out, well, why did I sing that line? So I think that song is just a throwback to a song from the previous album that Frankie sang called Whiskey on My Mind. And then I knew I wanted him to sing this because it was like a blues song. So he
Yeah.
was kind of referencing a song from the previous album where he gave up his whiskey for the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've spent an alarming amount of time discussing it. Like my theory is that there wasn't enough whiskey in like 1975, so it was a big deal if your wife stole some. Now we have plenty.
And this is all I drink, other than I have caffeine in the morning and I drink. I don't even like the taste of any alcohol, believe it or not. I just drink water. So I
Oh,
wrote
okay.
2 songs about whiskey, and I would vomit if I took a sip of it.
See, I'm just the opposite. I drink whiskey just about every night, and if I'm
Really?
watching a movie and I see someone put ice in it or water or soda in it, I'm like, oh, they ruined it. There it is.
Every
You know,
night,
how
huh?
dare you do that?
That's his little nightcap. Puts him
Okay.
to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
sips it. And the one time he sent me to the liquor store and I know what brand he likes. And this lady was in there trying to sell me something else. And she's like, well, do you put it over rocks? Do you sip it? I'm like, this is my husband's. I'm going to get what he wants and I'm going. Just please.
Yeah. Yeah. And the millennials and Zoomers, they like to do shots, and I'm like, no. I want to taste. Yeah, I
he
like
likes to
the
sip it
taste of.
slow.
What is this shot business you speak of? No, we're not doing that. You know.
Well, my wife and I, we drink usually once a year. We'll have we'll go down. What's the place we drink at, G?
What?
We drink at the Hog's Breath Saloon. We'll
Okay.
have a split a drink, or maybe we'll have one drink each, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
I love that sexy shuffle on Enough of You too. That
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that
thank you.
made it perfect.
Thank you so much.
Celestial Wood, though, is this gorgeous atmosphere as well, but with those off-kilter notes and those breathy ahs and oohs, it's very eerie. Was it kind of trying to be like a little Close Encounters type atmosphere there, or just kind of something eerie?
Celestial Yard. Mark Sunshine wrote the lyrics for that, and last summer he asked me to write a song on acoustic guitar for him. And I'm like, all right, I'll try something. And I just wrote a couple notes, and then I finished it. Probably took me at least a week to write the music, but I wrote it for him to write to. So he wrote all the lyrics. He has to get credit for all the lyrics. And it's about a really heavy topic. And it goes back to a song on My Veneration called Show Them Your Power, which was basically when he finished singing that song, his fiance had literally passed away 2 or 3 days previously. And I was so surprised when I got the finished song back from him. But after his fiance died, he found out a few of the things she had told him all along were not true. And that's what Celestial Yard's about. It's about her dying and him finding out the truth about things, finding out some things weren't true that she told him. And it's probably, even though it's acoustic, I would think it's my favorite song on the album, which is not, it's such a rare thing for me to like the most mellow song the best. But I think, and it's not because of the guitar parts I wrote, it's because of what Mark Sunshine, what he sang, his lyrics and his melody. Like, I just don't know how anybody could write anything better than what he did. To me, it's a really big song that's going to stand the test of time. But yeah, it's really dark, and I don't want to really talk about the lyrics too much because I don't know what he wants to be known, but
Right.
it's
It's very heavy
fucking
subject.
It's
Heavy
really-
subject matter, big time.
Yeah, yeah.
My sister's second husband passed away, and they had a business together, and they had this safe, and he always said he kept, some spare money and papers in there. And then after he died, they were trying to get it open, and they finally got it open. The only thing he had in there was porn and weed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that, only without the porn and the weed.
Little disappointing. She was like, "Where's the money?"
Yeah.
Oh God, that's funny.
So for where do you think you're going? What was it like merging your sound with DMZ? Because that's just crazy. Did you give him a concept, or did he just kind of run with it?
No, so we've been working together for a couple of years now. He has one song on every Patriarchs in Black album, except for the first one. And then he and I have written a few songs separately. We had this project called Terrific, and there was only one song called Game Changer. And it's really cool because he mentions me in his lyrics in the first verse. But we have a couple other songs together. But when I wrote Where You Think We're Going, that was the one weird song. Like I said, my wife and Johnny Kelly didn't know what I was talking about when I was talking about it. It didn't make sense to them. I finished the song. J-Rod, my engineer, finished mixing it, and Johnny Kelly said, it still needs something. It needs vocals. I'm like, I love your cat.
He's a mess.
I'm like, I don't want to have a singer singing over this. So I sent it to DMC, and he's like, I love this. I have something. And he wrote something right away. So DMC's become a really big fan of Patriarchs in Black. And but he doesn't like, if I send him a song, he can't, rap to anything I send him, but I'll occasionally send him a riff. And like a few weeks ago, I sent him a riff and I thought it was perfect for him, and he didn't respond. And that's his way of being nice and telling you he doesn't like it. But then, like, I think it was Wednesday of this week, he's like, hey man, send me that riff again. I misplaced it or something. So I sent it to him. He's like, oh my God, that's amazing. I want to sing to that. I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah, he just did his thing. I thought I wrote a finished song that was really good, but Johnny Kelly thought it needed something, and DMC did what he did. He wanted to do that. So I gave him no direction. He thought of all his parts on his own. Like I wrote all the violin parts and the flute and the female vocals and the opera singing, but DMC's gets credit for everything he did on his parts.
Yeah, violin and rap vocals was not on
Yeah,
my Doom bingo
know.
card. I
And
didn't
a
see that one
flute,
coming,
too.
but it works.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really works.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a nice combination. So I want to say, and I said this in my review, of course, my favorite track was Carl's, the call. I love how it opens up, accelerates, and then melts back, and then you have kind of that acoustic finish. When you write a track like that, do you write it in one emotional sweep, or are there pieces that you kind of Frankenstein together?
I remember it was my wife and I were either leaving a hotel or I was driving my car, and I just heard in my head, boom, boom, down, down, boom, 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 down, down, boom, right? So I go upstairs, I figure it out, and I'm like, should this be acoustic or should this be heavy? And this is the only song, I'll tell you this, here's an exclusive. The acoustic parts are in one tuning and the heavy parts in another tuning. But
Oh wow.
I kept playing the riff over and over. The chorus came naturally, and then I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it's just so easy. Like I'm playing over and over, and I'm like, it needs an up tempo part right here, and my fingers just start playing, and those notes come out, and there's no thought involved at all. It just happens, So I feel like when I finish writing that, I'm like, okay, this is the best song on the album. This is the best song I've written in a long time, and I had lyrics and melody line to it, and I told Carl, I said, dude, I have great melody and great lyrics. Like, no, don't send me anything. Let me do my thing first. So like 2 or 3 months goes by, and I'm like, Carl, you got anything? He's like, not yet. He's like, I'm getting close though. I'm like, can I send you what I wrote? He's like, no, I don't want to hear. I'm like, and then I ended up, when Carl first sent me the vocals, I was like, all right, it's not what I wrote, but I think I like it. And then I listened again. I'm like, okay, I fucking love it. I really love it, But it took me a couple listens because I had it, the whole song in my head for like 6 months,
Wow.
It kind of seems like it's about the Grim Reaper, like
I think it is, yeah. And yeah, both of us, we're happy guys, but both of us had kind of similar lyrics, like as far as it was about death or dying,
Yeah.
Nice.
So of all the collaborators, who would you say was the most fun to work with?
The most fun will have to be Johnny Kelly. I know he's involved with the project, but he and I become pretty friendly. We talk on the phone. I think we see the world the same way when we talk about topics that you can't talk about in interviews, politics and whatever. We see the world the same way, and I really have grown to love the guy. He's a great guy. So I'm going to say Johnny Kelly, even if that's cheating a little bit, because I don't want to single out any of the singers, but Johnny's become a buddy of mine for sure. Even though he lives in Texas and I never see him, great guy.
So for all the collaborations, were they done remotely or
Yeah.
were any of them done together?
Well, the song Beeline, like whenever John Costco is a great singer, and he's also capable of writing his own lyrics and melodies, but he's got a band called Revel at Dusk. So I think he doesn't want to waste any of his melodies or lyrics with me. So he always asked me to write lyrics and the melodies. So I will literally, I'll sing in the studio with my bad voice, and then he'll come up to the studio and I'll stand right next to him while he sings. So he's literally right next to me. And the young woman who sang on Where You Think You're Going, and the male opera singer, it was both of their first times in the studio. And I had sent them, again, with my bad voice, here's what I want you to sing. And they came to the studio and I was kind of by their side, we're in the very next room anyway. And then I think most of the rest of the singers and everything was done remotely, I'm pretty sure.
I noticed outside of Where You Think You're Going, you don't have a lot of female vocals. Do you think that's a conscious choice or a preference or just happens that
I'm
way?
a misogynist. I don't know if I mentioned that. No. There's nothing against it. We had Militia Vox sang a Led Zeppelin cover of Friends for us that was sort of up for a Grammy, kind of, sort of.
Cool.
But Wendy O. Williams deceased. I can't find her. She's not around anymore. But I would say when I write, I generally hear male vocals in my head. But it doesn't have to be, obviously. For this one, I did hear part female vocals. I guess it's just whatever goes on in my head.
He has a friend who will not listen to if it has a female vocal. I don't get it. He
Yeah.
will not listen to it.
He just doesn't
Okay.
like it.
Well,
Off is right.
Fleetwood
That's his
Mac,
loss.
and like I said, the Plasmatics Coup d'etat album is one of my favorite albums of all time, actually.
Yeah. I remember when I was in college, we all were sitting around playing with acoustic guitars and we figured out the tuning for Friends.
Oh yeah,
And we wouldn't let anybody touch the guitars for months because we just wanted to keep playing it.
funny. If Amy Winehouse was alive, man, I would love for her to sing a song for me, and I'd write a song for her.
The Queen of the Blackberry. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Mark always said if Wendy O could have hung in there a few more years, she could have made a retro comeback.
Yeah,
She had tried to kill herself several times before that, but
Yeah.
I do think that she missed the festival window by only a few years. I really think if she had just hung in there till 2001, 2002, that was when she would have been the queen of the festival,
Yeah. I would love that one album, just classic.
Yeah.
Every song on it too.
Blowing up cars on stage,
Yeah.
So you've been in a wide variety of bands. What's the furthest departure from doom or that kind of genre that you were ever in?
I mean, I guess the hip hop stuff I do with Daryl. And I always wanted to, just do something unique. Like there's a Hades song called Process of Assimilation. If you look back, I wrote it in 1987. It came out in 1988. And the last minute of the song turns into a reggae jam. And it totally makes sense within the song, though. And I remember when we did it, some people were like, what the fuck is that? And then other people were like, this is so cool. No other band, no other thrash band could go into a song that ends in a kind of a reggae metal jam. Again, I love diversity. My favorite album of all time is Highway to Hell, and that's 7 different chords, but that's, the opposite end. I don't mind listening to a record where things sound similar, but, my Spotify playlist is all over the map, from Neil Young to Slayer, from A$AP Rocky, J. Cole to Dr. Dre to Alice in Chains and Led Zeppelin. I love all kinds of music. I mean, I'm not a big fan of country or jazz, honestly, but it doesn't matter to me stylistically what the song is. I just want it to be catchy and good and maybe heavy in the sense of Amy Winehouse's songs were fucking heavy, but not to
Yeah.
my mom. They sound like my mom could listen to them, but heavy. There's something about this heavy about them, you know?
Yeah.
So if your house was on fire,
Mm-hmm.
what guitars or gear would you definitely grab?
None of it wouldn't matter for real. It's just I don't give a shit about anything that's not a human. Like if my house burned down, I'd be upset, but nothing is that important to me. Like my wife and my health. I mean that's all, you know. Anything else is such a distant second. Yeah.
Yeah. I can relate. Yeah.
So I was kind of playing a little game in my head since you've collaborated with so many people and like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. In
Right.
6 degrees, could we connect you to Marilyn Manson? I think we could.
Mm, well, his bass player liked one of our posts. And also I remember when nonfiction was in Florida in 1992 or 91, 92, I think. Nonfiction was on the cover of some rock magazine, and I saved it for years. And I was flipping through it like a couple of years later, and there in like a flannel t-shirt is Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. I remember that. Like they got a full
Okay.
page story, and they were this underground band, and we were on the cover of the magazine. You know,
Gotcha.
I don't know if that counts.
This is the way I mapped it out.
Okay.
You play on Patriarchs,
Right.
and then one of those guests is Carl,
Right.
former Corrosion of Conformity, and then Corrosion of Conformity have toured and often linked to Danzig. Danzig was produced by Rick Rubin, who also worked with everything from Flair to Dixie Chicks, but let's keep it dark.
Okay.
Danzig guitarist John Christ also played on Glenn Danzig's earlier solo albums, and Marilyn Manson toured with Danzig on the Antichrist Superstar tour for the win.
That's a nice analogy, and not
Yeah.
an analogy, but I want to say I love that album. I hated Marilyn Manson when he first came out. His first album, I fucking hated it. And sort of like Miley Cyrus and Jenny McCarthy, there's somebody who I just despise them, and then for some reason they won me over, you know, which
Yeah.
rarely happens.
I think we could have a whole board game on you.
Yeah, maybe.
Get that out there and marketed. That'd be fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we play a game on the show.
Okay.
It's called 5 Random Questions. So I want you to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 100, and they will correspond to random questions.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 23.
Keep
Oh.
going.
9,
Mm-hmm.
8, 1, and 99.
All right. 23. What was your dream job as a kid?
Playing shortstop for the New York Mets.
Zero hesitation.
Did you play a lot of baseball?
Yeah, I sucked in the 2nd and 3rd grade because I was playing because my dad wanted me to play. The 4th grade, I got 2 hits. 5th grade, I fell in love with the sport. I was an all-star tournament team. 6th grade, same thing. 9th grade, I made the team. A million kids tried out, and I was a starting shortstop. But 5 games in, I didn't like the coach's attitude, and I wanted to play guitar, and I quit, and that was that. And then I started playing basketball in 1997.
When I was young, like 8, 10, I sucked at baseball and I sucked at soccer, and I almost quit, and it was so frustrating. And then we went to see a ball game, and my parents realized I couldn't see the scoreboard, so I got glasses. And then I became a stud. Like I
That's
actually could
awesome.
see the fucking ball and hit
That's
it, you
great,
know.
man.
Yeah, and
Good for you.
it was really weird because my parents stopped coming when I was good. So, like, I remember I was like hitting batting practice to the infield, and they're like, "Dude, your parents never come." And I'm like, "You know what? You're right." So, but it did take them 10 years to figure out that I couldn't see.
Crazy, man. You think they would have figured that out in school?
I know, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I squinted, or I mean, you don't know. You know, why would that be a thing? You know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, vision was a very big part of my sports.
Okay, and it's going to be
Yeah.
orange.
No.
9. What is your favorite room in your house and why?
Favorite room in my house is let's see, the living room because we hang out there a lot, or the bedroom because that's where we do married people stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So
We
it's
do a lot
tie.
of that too.
It's a
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah.
It's very weird. My Fitbit, when we do married people stuff, always says I went to spin class.
Right.
Like,
So that's become our code. I'll say I could really go for some spin class this evening, and we either get the stamp of approval or not.
Right.
really. Although, to be fair, when I mow the lawn, it says I went on an outdoor bike ride, so that doesn't matter.
Nice.
And then he picked 8. Have you ever dyed your hair? And if so, what color?
I have never dyed my hair. My sister-in-law, Jamie Caltabalata, dyes my hair.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I
it's
was
this
blue
color.
for a while.
This color. Oh, actually, I was purple. That's right. I was purple in for 2 minutes in 1992 or 3, I think. Yeah.
I think we all were back then. Yeah.
That was the color of the day.
Yeah.
And you picked number 1. What is your opinion of Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Huh. I guess I respect him, and I love how pro-American he is. He's such a great American success story for all of our country's problems. There's not another country in the world where Schwarzenegger could have left Austria and went to, whether it's Canada or Italy or Portugal or where. There's no other country where you could come to and have this dream and have it realized and make money and become a governor and so I love the way he speaks about America.
Yeah.
He could say California like 22 times. I'd be like, say it again.
Right.
I love in the documentary when he talks about how his agents were all telling him in like the early 80s, no, like the popular character has to be like Woody Allen, like that's the type of character. You're just going to be like a bit player and work
Right.
your way up. And he was like, no, I will be the star. Like he
Right,
he
yeah.
never hesitated. He never thought of himself as anything but total success.
Great story. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Pick 99. Would you rather cook dinner or clean up after?
Definitely cook. I don't know how to clean. My wife can vouch for that.
Mm.
I really have good intentions. Like I'd like to be able to clean, but it just doesn't work out very well. And the other day I was just thinking, I ate a plum over the sink. I thought I was doing a good thing while my wife was at work, and it was a very juicy plum. Unbeknownst to me, in the first bite, I bit it, and the plum juice went everywhere. And I thought I cleaned it up. I was like, "Oh my God, this is really bad." Like I'm cleaning. And then my wife came home and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh man, like I can never find. I'm not a great cook, but I'm a terrible cleaner."
Do you have a signature dish that is your go-to?
Yeah, let's see. I like my red sauce, but lately I haven't even been cooking that. Yeah, I'm gonna say my red sauce because right now, the end of the year, what I like to get some heirloom tomatoes, and only in the end of July, August, September, boil the skin off them, throw it in a pan with some garlic and/or onions, and just a natural flavor, and then just cook the spaghetti. Boil the spaghetti, throw everything in. A little cheese on top. I mean, I guess everybody can cook a red sauce, but I kind of like mine when I hit it right, it's pretty good.
I love doing that too. And I found something in some magazine. If you make a big batch of it,
Yeah.
and then you put it in freezer bags
Yep.
and just lay it flat on like a cookie sheet and then freeze it that way, you can just break off a piece when you need it and defrost
Interesting,
it.
Yeah.
Really good. So back to you guys. I love your incredible cast of collaborators. Have you ever thought, even if it was a one-off, doing a live show and having everybody come on and
Yeah.
do a big live aid?
Everybody asked that question, and we would love it, but I really wouldn't want to do it with less than 4 singers. So that's number 1. Johnny Kelly plays with Quiet Riot just about every weekend. That's number 2, and he makes good money playing for Quiet Riot, so he's not going to come play and lose, $1,000. So if a promoter was into paying all of us for airfare, hotel, or whatever, it definitely would be really fun. It'd be awesome.
Do you ever get offers from promoters that want you to put together a band and play like Resisting Success from front to back? Do you ever get that?
Yeah, we used to. Not so much lately because they know the answer is no. But yeah, Hades, we got there's a company called Back from the Dead that make our t-shirts, and Season of Mist. There's always a little interest in Hades. They keep re-releasing our vinyl, or like I think 4 of the albums came out on vinyl last year for the first time. But and then in 2010 we played in Germany, and we got another offer after that. It's like Well, we'll fly you here if you want to be Hades, but if you want to play Resisting, only songs from the first two albums,
Right,
X amount of money. So yeah, that always with the Germans particularly, they always really, that was their
I've heard
thing.
that before. Yeah, I've heard that before. You
They don't
must play
wanna-
my wife's favorite song,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's coming up next for you guys? Sounds like definitely new music. Have you considered maybe making any videos or visualizers for any of your song?
Yeah, so we had the Sunshine song, Celestial Yard. There's a video for that. We just released a lyric video today for the song called Ready to Die. And I'll tell you this, there's a singer who I've been looking for years. One of my favorite vocal performances I've ever heard. Couldn't track the guy down. And ends up being from Maryland. So I'm writing a song with Danny from 60 Watt Shaman. Daniel.
Oh, I know that band.
Yeah. So there's always something, like even when I'm kind of not writing, I still got stuff going on. So we're gonna finally do a song together. But I've been a fan of his voice for over 20 years, and I couldn't track him down until a couple of months ago.
I saw them. They were at that infamous Towson show where Bobby Liebling stumbled on the stage late, and they closed it out. It's in the documentary. Yeah, but
Okay.
60 Watt Shaman were one of that show had gone on all day. It was great. It was only the last show,
Right.
the last act that was a shit show.
Yeah, we saw that doc. Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually a really good concert. Yeah.
We saw him this year. He did one of the opening nights of Maryland Death Fest. He's never
Yeah.
looked better.
Yeah,
Never
he
looked better.
completely turned around. Yeah.
Oh, good
Yeah.
to hear.
One of the things, speaking of you being from New Jersey and talking about Bobby Blitz and all, I always thought it would be cool if Overkill had a dummy that looked like Bon Jovi and hung him from the Overkill logo.
Yeah.
And maybe Springsteen on the other side. You know what I mean? I just always thought that would be.
I'll have to suggest that to Blitz.
Yeah, let him know that, because I wrote that, like, I write that in a lot of my Overkill reviews. I'm just like, when are they going to do the hanging Bon Jovi thing?
Yeah. All right. I'll have to ask him about that.
With the fringy leather and
Got you.
Yeah.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1 is the new album from Winfield, Winfield 3. When one thinks of goth rock or post-punk, it seems like all the classic stuff comes from some gloomy, rain-soaked jam shack in London, as opposed to the sunny college town known as Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a place that has been nicknamed the southern part of heaven after a William Meade Prince book from 1950. But judging from the quality of 3, the new album from the four-piece known as Winfield, it seems quality gloom can flourish even in the warmest environment.
Since originally forming in 2017, Winfield have forged an alluring and distinctive style built on the effervescent melodies of guitarist Brad Prenna, the pinging bass lines of Kent Corley, and the scrumptious coos of vocalist Victoria Roy. 3 is comprised of 8 songs, mostly in the 3-minute range, produced by North Carolina Svengali Scott Solter. He also has worked with Spoon, Mountain Goats, Superchunk, and it's dreamy yet dark enough to compete with anything from Europe.
Run is a smart up-tempo rocker that could have been recorded in 1985 or 2025, drifting away on the bouncing guitar hooks of Prenda that take the song through a squallish series of drones as opposed to a lead. It's truly fodder for a Molly Ringwald dance session. The lead-off title track is one of the disc's most satisfying. The stuttering drums of David Bunch are frosted with a Cure-adjacent melody from Prenda. Victoria delivers the perfect vocal for this track, wistful yet melodic, lush yet melancholy, stating the mysterious chorus, "Lately, 1 + 1 + 1 isn't always 3. You make it easy to tempt me." Let's hear a little of the title track.
The charming Autonomy offers yet another texture built on bell-like guitar chimes and a flashy giddy-up beat from Bunch. Roy's vocal is strong but apprehensive, melodies crisscrossing, stopping and starting as she offers cryptic lines like, "It takes a lot to give a little bit more. No matter what you say, it will always feel a little bit cold." Guitar-wise, Prentice seems to prefer jangles to power chords, smartly placed harmonics to bends or wails, and complements the style perfectly, as I continue to wait for Robert Smith's voice to suddenly jump to the front of the mix. Very impressive album from a band that has come a long way in a relatively short time. The songs are memorable and varied, the style is familiar and yet distinctive, and the production is fantastic. Fans of stuff like Brutus or Unto Others would do well to grab up a little Winfield for their collection. Goth rock isn't dead, and in North Carolina, it may be wearing sunglasses and quietly judging you from the porch.
Well said. This is Autonomy.
little bit more. No matter what you say, it always feels a little bit cold. We both know. Do you ever think twice? Or surrender to the blood rushing to your head? We play to pretend. Do you ever?
Okay, Deaf Ears 2 is a new album from Private Lives, Salt of the Earth. The idiom salt of the earth refers to folks who are honest, hardworking, and reliable, which also happens to describe this Montreal four-piece to a T. Private Lives, not to be confused with the 80s British New Wave band, are a force in their own right, delivering their sophomore full-length just 2 years after the more ostentatiously titled hit record.
I've always thought naming your debut something like that or calling your band Superstars was just begging for a curse. But Private Lives might just be the exception. What they serve up in these 10 tracks, all in the pop, punk, appropriate 2 to 3 minute range, are songs that are simple, consistent, and frankly great. From the very first track, I was transported straight back to Parallel Lines, the first album I ever wore out playing on repeat. Add a splash of the Romantics guitar swagger, a dash of Go-Go's bubblegum surf smack, and you've got Salt of the Earth. Catchier than a Real Housewife's gossip, full of snarky lyrics packed with upbeat melodies that'll get you sock hopping.
Dealer's Choice kicks things off in proper pop-punk flair, with Chance Hutchinson's jangly guitar sparkling over a classic Ramones-inspired foundation. New kitmaster Drew Dammers brings snappy, effervescent stick work that cracks like firework poppers, adding percussive fizz to the mix. Josh Herlihy's bass plunks out a kinetic, burbling groove that leaves no foot untapped, propelling the track with infectious energy. Jackie Blenkam's vocals ride in on a smooth, melodic tone, brimming with bratty charm and a side of cheerleader pep, even with lyrics steep in betrayal and unease. You still didn't call, you let me take the fall for everything. The chorus bursts with layered vocals swelling into a hook-heavy melody, all while keeping it dark. You keep me up at night, now I don't feel right. As the track builds, a soft, disintegrating wail floats over the final section, adding the unnerving air of becoming unglued.
You can be sure they wear their influences on their sleeves. Feel Like Anything opens with a crisp, standalone drum snap that practically winks at We Got the Beat. But instead of Belinda strutting in, Hutchinson's high-toned guitar chimes with a jangle pop street smarts stamped in punk minimalism that will have you hand-clapping along to the whip-smart riff capping each line. Blenkam's vocals zip by with espresso-level energy, glittering melodies glazed by a backdrop chorus, adding airy ooze to the hook. The lyrics once again flip the mirror, despondent despite the upbeat bounce. I don't need you, feel like anything, and I don't want to listen to him sing. The guitar spills out chords with the rhythm and determination of someone scrubbing laundry over a washboard, while Blenkum spirals into a repeat candy-coated sneer of never wanted to. The rest of the band jumps back in on backing vocals, turning it into a punk rock rallying cry. The track climaxes with infectious hand claps over a bass line that jitters and bops, the kind of groove that will have you busting out your boogie shoes on a Tuesday. Let's play a clip. Feel Like Anything.
Somebody
On My Own bursts with stop-start guitar jabs over a sprightly drum beat that practically demands you twist like it's 58. Their signature formula of candy-coated hooks and darkly honest lyrics is in full effect. Who knew you'd be shimmying in your kitchen to a song about getting dumped? At first listen, the upbeat tempo feels joyful, but on closer spin, it's more jittery than jubilant. Blankum's vocals tumble out fast as the strumming, like thought spiraling. I never really thought I would end up on my own, and now I am sitting here and I'm feeling all alone, and you're never coming home. Each chorus is ushered in with snappy drum rolls and accented with coos. Mid-track, everything fuzzes out into a brief emotional blur before the guitar bounds back into life with a pogo-ing urgency.
It's catchy, chaotic, and just a little crazy. Disconnected kicks off with a vintage guitar and drums tap a la the Kinks in All Day and All of the Night that later drops from a tinny metallic to a deeper tone. Blankum caresses the notes with her girlish sing-song style, never lacking swagger, that build with some coos until a fully layered choir sings out the ends of lines to her signature flat, disconnected. The bass percolates dark vibes underneath. My favorite track, and soon to be yours, is Psychic Beat. Demmer's drums roll out like a surfy wave before settling into a snappy, buoyant thwack. Hutchinson's guitar lines ride tight and restless, looping in a mean little restless melody. The bass of Herschely is low-end quiver that seems to be directly wired to your rhythm button. Blankum's vocals come with an exaggerated inflection, so B-52-esque. I half expected a beehive wig and vintage go-go boots to show up in the music video. The added ba-ba-bas bring that classic 50s retro charm, while the punchy chant of Psychic Beat, echoed back by the guys, gives the chorus a playful punch. Then Hutchinson peels out a bluesy, prancing guitar solo straight out of Chuck Berry's glittering bag of tricks.
In an interview, Chance Hutchinson reflected on Private Live's evolution. When our old drummer Frank was in the band, we were still trying to figure out what the band was. Some songs were really mellow, and we were all coming from not very mellow bands. When Drew joined, we were already kind of at a turning point, so it was a happy accident. The band naturally was progressing into more of a rock and roll unit. That turning point stuck, and Mello left the building. Private Lives now pull the best from pop, punk, and sock hop rock, lacing it with salt of the earth grit and a whole lot of DIY heart. The result, a sound that's retro and classic without ever sounding dusty. These bubblegum beats come with dark undercurrents, convincing you that the old school rock and roll never ended. They just showed up in a thrift store, leather jacket, and scored a well-earned vintage chic rebirth. Let's play a song. This is Psychic Beats. Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is the new album from Echosoul, The Time of the Dragon. So we go from power pop to goth rock, and now U.S. power metal courtesy of Echosoul, a four-piece from Fort Wayne, Indiana, that can deliver lyrics about dragons and walls of Jerusalem with zero cheese factor whatsoever. No, this is strong, riffy metal with epic solos, powerful vocals, and intense percussion reminiscent of Prime Nevermore or Jag Panzer. I mean, get a hold of that logo. It's part Sabotage and part Transformers, for Christ's sake. According to their Bandcamp, their debut album met with rave reviews all across Europe, especially Germany. I mean, it's probably already #2 in Austria behind Manowar's latest workout tape. And after dropping a bunch of singles to tease the release, The Time of the Dragon finally dropped this May, featuring 10 epic songs and about 50 violent-friendly minutes.
Not sure about you, but I tend to be pretty picky when it comes to this type of metal. The tankard-clanking ode to Valhalla choruses and cringe-worthy lyrics. A lot of this I blame on Gamma Ray. Have made me pretty skeptical when dungeons and/or dragons are involved in the titles. But in the case of Echosoul, the performances are epic yet gritty, the production huge, and the riffs are relentless. Guitarist Guy Hinton seems to pull from a towering war chest full of harmonic tricks, while the percussion of Tyler Witt and Fabio Alessandrini is way more aggressive than it needs to be.
Take Instruments of Chaos, for example. opens crunchy and satisfying right from the start. Drums exploding around the 30-second mark to near thrash intensity. Vocalist Rob Lundgren dealing out soaring croons against Hinton's hyperactive riff changes. The chorus is buttressed by a perfectly placed harmonized guitar melody as the tempo bounds hard and fast for the verses, slowing slightly for the dreaminess of the chorus. Let's hear a little bit of Instruments of Chaos.
It's not coming fast enough. Destiny is fading quicker than we can catch up. The ramparts are decaying, our defenses are looking bleak. All the walls around us are cracked and weakening. It's all laid before us, time to face the facts. Our future calls us, we need to answer it back.
Hollowed Ground is another scorcher that bounds from the walls from the very first note. Drums smashing and thrashing like an out-of-control weed whacker. The layered chorus is a veritable battle between Hinton's wild riff patterns and Lundgren's luscious croons. Plus, we are treated to an intense solo from some dude named Andy LaRoque. Swedish guy. Wasn't he Ghost's hairdresser or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
The title track may breathe the most fire, erupting at a very hard-charging, Jagdpanzer-like fashion, vocals soaring, armor gleaming, swords sharp and helmets lowered, as Lundgren spins yarns of sky-crashing pale riders, tribulation, false prophets, and watchmen that sets up a marvelous pre-chorus, and the four horsemen ride across our lands, bringing with them death by apocalypse.
Admittedly, it's not a style of metal I listen to much anymore, but there's no denying the quality, the aggro nature of the performances, and the sense of urgency. I don't see any physical copies for sale on their Bandcamp page, but I recommend this one even if you have to go the dirty digital route. Raise the flags, mount your steeds, unleash the fury that is Echosoul. Gloves of steel optional, because Christ, it's like 97 degrees out there. Anyway, let's hear a little bit of The Time of the Dragon. And there it is. Photography jokes and people following construction vehicles.
Every time I see that sign, I'm like, did someone just...
It happened enough that they had to print the sign on all the vehicles, the whole fleet. Yep.
It was just like...
What are you doing here? I just thought you knew where you were going.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Dan Lorenzo for appearing on the show. If you haven't checked out Patriarchs in Black, well, do it now. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ear themes by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 4 artwork courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ear's bands include Echosoul, Private Lives, and Winfield. All content 2025. The Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Log on to Patreon now to see this picture. Stace holding our friend's hair at a wedding while she vomits and says, I didn't know other people were afraid of aardvarks.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.